Hello and welcome to another special episode of Frankfurt English News. My name is Boris Siromakov and I'm your guide to the upcoming mayor elections in Frankfurt, or the Oberbürgermeisterwahl. We have already covered the three major favorites to win the race, as well as candidates that receive significant political backing and therefore have the firepower to produce an upset and maybe win the elections. Now it is time to dive into what I consider to be the best part of local politics. Today we'll be taking a look at locally recognizable people who want to produce change for Frankfurt. So let me introduce you to the city mascots running for mayor. Distinctly Frankfurtish, strong in opinion, and sometimes even a bit quirky. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the local mascots grappling with the big parties for the office of Mayor of Frankfurt. 56-year-old Mathias Pfeiffer has been nominated by BFF, which stands for Bürger für Frankfurt, or Citizens for Frankfurt. He is a city councillor with a background in the office and property furnishing industry, and he really dislikes the Greens. To be fair, he doesn't seem to like any of the big parties. His election poster is decorated with a picture of 4 game figures, one red, one black, one yellow, and one green, and all of them are crossed out. The sign says none of them, but it's worth pointing out that the green figure is the only one that is pushed down. It's a lovely example of political symbolism. The 7-point program of Mr. Pfeiffer is focused on the election program of the Greens and actively campaigns against it. He advocates for equal opportunities for all kinds of mobility and to repeal the focus on bicycle lanes only. He goes further to say that the 25 years of green policy have been a, I quote, disaster, unquote, for Frankfurt, and local politicians were, I quote again, driven by ideology, unquote. The passion of Mr. Pfeiffer's words is there to see. One wonders, however, if he's not taken it too far in a program which almost looks like a vendetta against the Greens. Is there space for vengeance in a mayor election? All's fair in love and war, they say. Mr. Pfeiffer's top priority will be housing policy and urban planning, but he wants to repeal the decision to build a new district along the A5. Matthias Pfeiffer also said that he wanted to make climate policy adjustments rather than strive for climate neutrality. What that means is that he wants to determine what is best to do to support natural climate controls, like fresh and cold air corridors, for example. Let's carry on with our next candidate. Katharina Tanczos is running for Die Partei, or the party, a satirical political... It's a pot for watering flowers. According to the party's website, Professor Dr. Bernadette Bembel is a 42-year-old expert in phytoscience and received 100% of internal party votes to run for mayor. Now, local election law doesn't allow watering pots to run for elections, and this discriminatory practice has forced Katharina Tanczos, a 33-year-old acoustician, to run as Mrs. Bembel's representative. The policy that Die Partei propose is full of sarcasm. They want to establish a new airport named after Peter Feldman, who was the ex-mayor that went down in a corruption scandal last year. And they also propose a no-waffle ban zone in the Bahnhof district. What is interesting is that for the duration of the campaign, Die Partei has established a beef with CDU candidate Uwe Becker.
Uwe Becker. Zeigt auf Dinge.
In this lovely video, Bembel explains that CDU candidate Uwe Becker likes to point at things, and should be allowed to do so with their meme creator that I posted on their website. It has a picture of Becker that you can edit into your own photos and post on Twitter with the appropriate hashtag. Remember the school deficiency counter on Uwe Becker's website? Die Partei have created a special CDU deficiency counter on their website. But the animosity between the party and Uwe Becker went beyond jokes when 2 city councillors from Die Partei announced that they would take legal action against candidate Becker because of his election posters, in which he describes himself as, I quote, your mayor, end quote. The party councillors claim that Mr. Becker uses unauthorized official designation and, according to law, is then liable for up to 1 year of imprisonment and a fine. Becker replied by saying that the context of the election campaign makes it obvious that he's not yet the mayor, but wants to win the seat, and refers to Manuela Rothmann's posters that say, Mayor of Frankfurt. This is serious action on behalf of a satirical political party, and one wonders, where does sarcasm end, and where do real politics come into play? A lawsuit sounds quite serious, and so does the seat of the Lord Mayor of Frankfurt. Let's see who else is running for that.
Jeden Tag fährt in Frankfurt die Bahn.
Peter Wirth Bahnbabo is a 61-year-old streetcar driver and a local legend. He's a social media star and a bodybuilder who has songs written in his name.
Bahnbabo wird genannt. Peter Wirth.
Bahnbabo is a nickname, and it means boss of the railways in youth slang. And it's very fitting for Peter Wirth, who pledges to turn his attention to the youth and try to bridge the generation gap if he becomes Lord Mayor. Bahnbabo runs his campaign all by himself, rejecting offers from campaign managers and crowdfunding, as he hates any commercialization of his person. He has been hanging posters by himself, but expects people to take them home as souvenirs. This doesn't bother him, as he sees himself as, I quote, a walk-in election poster, end quote. Bahnbabo wants to revolutionize traffic in Frankfurt by empowering streetcars. According to his program, they will go first in all intersections. In this way, the passengers will be prioritized over individual car traffic. He also said he would donate 1/3 of his salary as mayor to charity, with youth aid, drug aid and women's aid in mind. Mr. Wirth has been doing charity work for years. He wants to tackle the housing crisis and find a solution to the lack of space to live. Bahnbabo has been critical towards his employer VGF because they wouldn't give him paid leave on election day. It is understandable that the municipal company is cautious to avoid looking like a sponsor to individual candidates, and in their reply have said that they would allow Mr. Wirth a day off, just without pay. Bahnbabo said that he would do his duty, as in the past 34 years. So in the end, it might turn out that, as the local media pointed out, Bahnbabo might be the only candidate who's going to drive his electors to the ballot boxes.
Hat sich nicht geirrt. Wird Bürgermeister.
And on the topic of transportation, let's take a look at the next candidate.
Mein Name ist Sven Junghans, ich bin der Pächter der Fähre.
Sven Junghans is captain of the Walter-Kolb ferry. He sails along the River Main, providing transportations for citizens in the west of Frankfurt. Yet his business has been facing increasing difficulties since the COVID pandemic. Mr. Junghans said he collected the 186 necessary signatures to run for mayor on board of his ship. And he said that his passengers even took the list to their respective neighborhoods to collect more signatures. He is a popular figure along the waters of the west of Main, but his ideas are focused on Frankfurt as a whole. Junghans doesn't describe himself as neither left nor right. He thinks policy should be constructed on facts. He wants to improve the city administration and drive it out of party ideologies. He speaks about the problems of littering, too much traffic, too few parking spaces, and the cohesion of society being lost. Junghans says that integration should be promoted and supported better to avoid a traditional and identity crisis. Mr. Junghans' ship is a cultural symbol of Frankfurt in itself, and it makes sense that he's concerned about the city's cultural identity and integrity. He says he listens to his passengers and the concerns that they have about Frankfurt, and wants to be a mayor from the people, for the people. But all the puns in the world wouldn't be enough to describe how cool it would be to have a ferry captain at the helm of Frankfurt. Godspeed. And that's a wrap for today. We've already taken a look at half the candidates that are running for mayor. And in the next episode, we'll be taking a look at everybody else. And in doing so, you'll have a full picture of the pre-election landscape in Frankfurt. The sources that we used to create this video are available in the description below. The German word of the day is Leidenschaft, and it means passion. Because when it is paired with skill and hard work, passion is the extra spice that produces greatness. Thank you for being with us. Good night and good luck.